Hey everybody, this video announcement is concerning the letters that we've all been getting from the firearms program and the appeal process that we have at our disposal. It's going to be a little long, bear with me, and it's actually been a long weekend of work, so I'm going to struggle through this. As many of you are aware, the RCMP sent out revocations of your registrations for your previously restricted, now prohibited rifles. First thing, they weren't worded like any previous revocation, and there was some concern about that in our community, but the letters have the same effect as a revocation if you read it carefully, so we did look into that. As you may also know, you can request a reference hearing to appeal that decision to revoke your certificate as provided for in Section 74 of the Firearms Act, and under normal circumstances, you'd be able to use your rifle until that case is resolved. So the idea of these challenges is that you'd maintain the use and possession of your firearm that you legally owned and hurt no one with. You'd be holding the government accountable, right, for the decision that they made. And you'd also engage in a reasonable and legal protest against the ideological abuse of government power that we're seeing right now. So that's all good. Now, part of this strategy is to clog the court system, to drag that whole process out, thus maintaining your possessions and your current rights, if you want to call them that, until other measures can be taken, so an election or what have you, okay? That's a general idea. Now, typically, as a firearm organization, we would coordinate a mass filing of these applications as part of our ongoing resistance to this behavior by the liberals. So that's the background, okay? And here's the announcement part. The CCFR is a law and order group. The CCFR is the reasonable gun lobby, and some people don't like that, but I think most gun owners do. And as such, being good and honest people, we want a safer Canada too. So after a few days of meetings, a lot of conversations, some research, okay, we've made the decision not to coordinate a mass filing of challenge applications, and here's why. Right now, and this is the best estimate I could come up with on short notice, so it might not be completely accurate, but it should be close, okay? Right now, there are around 6,000 criminal cases in Canada, remember that number, 6,000, that are at risk of dismissal or stays because of Jordan rule applications. So that's where someone is accused of a crime, they have a right under Section 11 of the Charter to a trial within a reasonable time. So this is something that's going on in Canada right now. So the Canadian courts were backlogged pre-COVID-19, and 6 people, so in particular, 6 people were charged with murder, and they've walked free. I think one of them's up on new charges for murder as well, again. So again, light on details, look into the Jordan thing yourself. Long story short, the CCFR is the most influential gun group in Canada's ever seen, okay? And I think it would be completely reasonable to think that we could generate 20,000 applications, you know, from our community if we put some effort into it. So I think you can see the problem. Right now, I'm not prepared to contribute to rapists and murderers going free. And this is important. The way that this prohibition was done, and good on the liberals for being so diabolical. If you filed a challenge, you won't have the use of your rifle in the interim anyway. So, I guess in summary for that part, no benefit other than the protest aspect, but it comes at a pretty serious cost to us and our fellow Canadians. Could touch our own families too. Also, keep in mind that the CCFR is already suing the government and the RCMP in the biggest case in Canadian history on behalf of gun owners. So there's not even a close second. So as a community, I assure you, we're not sitting on our hands regardless. Now, even more important, make no mistake, the fact that pedophiles, rapists, murderers, and maybe terrorists, I don't know, okay, are going free is directly and undeniably the fault of Justin Trudeau, Bill Blair, Ralph Goodale, and everyone else that has had influence at public safety and on behalf of the Liberal government, okay? This whole thing is their fault, and I think it's intentional. And you know what else? They can't even blame Harper on this one because they've had over 5 years, including 4 as a clear majority, to address these issues with the courts, and they've done nothing. Nothing. Okay, they've spent billions and billions of dollars on gun grabs and bar bills and haven't lifted a finger to actually stop actual people who are shooting our fellow Canadians. Like, I don't think the Liberals could care less about any of this stuff. And I say this because if they didn't like what was going on, they could have easily done something about it. And they would have had nothing but support from the other parties to fix it, right? I think that's reasonable. Anyway, the reason I bring all this up is that while none of this is gun owners' faults, okay? and we should have access to the system like everybody else, the CCFR as an organization won't back this kind of action, at least for now, for those reasons, okay? So, let me tell you what I'm not saying, okay? I am not saying don't do it as an individual. I'm only saying we just aren't advocating for a mass filing as an organization because I don't think it's responsible as an organization, okay? I think it's important, though, that we thought this through before we did anything, and we're bringing you some things to consider. And what you do now is entirely up to you. Okay, so that's our position on the Section 74 challenge thing. Okay, and I think I've said enough about that. One last thing. In the off chance that there's some legal benefit to filing one of these challenges, okay, the CCFR is considering doing a single one on behalf of the organization, right? So that won't clog the courts. Right now, we're looking into what evidence can be submitted in a procedure like this, whether there's limits on evidence or limits on the scope of the application, some other things. Okay, I don't have all the information right now, but I will have more to come, I'd say probably in a week or so. So all that to say, that's where we are right now. Now, if you feel like you want to do something about all this, you can contribute to the CCFR's legal fund and help us pay for, like I said earlier, the single largest lawsuit against the government on behalf of gun owners in Canadian history. You all wanted big, we went big. You all wanted a charter challenge, we did it, and it's happening right now. So if you want to do something to help, that's something that you can do if you want to. Okay, you can find all the information on how to do that, and also everything that the CCFR has done in the last 60 days following the gun ban. It's a huge list, and I would encourage you to check it out. You can find all that stuff, as you guys probably already know, at firearmrights.ca and also at propertyjustice.ca. You should check that out as well and share it. So I've talked long enough. Thank you for listening to all that. I really appreciate all your support, and we will see you all soon.